Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome. Well, come on in here, come on in, because I'm going to share with you today the results of my second Dexa scan. So I'm just going to tell you this GLP-1 weight loss journey has thrown me for a loop, right? It's not what I expected it would be. And that's because I have gotten some information from Dexa that has made me kind of reevaluate what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and to kind of kick things up a notch. So if you don't know, a Dexa scan is an X-ray and it looks into your body and it gives you great information about your body composition. And your body composition is made up of your total mass, which is your weight, your body fat. It tells you your lean mass, your visceral fat, and it gives you a T-score, which is your bone density. There are some people I've heard of that think they are getting a Dexa scan and they're only getting a bone density test. So if you go to get that Dexa scan, make sure it's a body composition scan. So let's just get into it. I'm going to tell you, I took my first Dexa scan in April of 2025, and I took my second Dexa scan at the end of August of 2025. And so I have two scans to compare. So that's exciting. What I wasn't prepared for is what they said. Now, let me just say, one of the things I knew going into this Dexa scan is that my eating and everything I was doing was turned a little bit upside down. I am on the 12.5 milligram dose. And up to date, so far, my highest weight loss has been 76 pounds. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I was cruising along, I thought at my speed, I was cruising along. And then I thought, geez, this is great. I had gotten to that 10. I thought 10 was my friend, 10 for the win. And then I started to have some food noise and I wanted to move up to 12.5. And not just some food noise. I was having food noise and cravings. I moved to the 12.5. Let's just say I'm cruising. And then I hit a bump in the road. And that was that 12.5, baby. That 12.5 really squashed my appetite. I wasn't eating like I was supposed to. So of course, if I'm not eating, what am I not getting in? That protein. And so I just kind of want to set that stage for what is to come. Another thing I was doing was I was celebrating my birthday. I was having some emotions with the anniversary of my mom's passing. And I just had a lot going on in the month of July with family and friends. It was not all negative, but it wasn't all positive either. So that kind of played into everything that was going on with me in that 12.5. And what I found myself doing is when I knew my calories were low and I wasn't getting in a lot, I would have a day where I allow myself to have higher calories to just kind of make up for the fact that I wasn't getting these calories in. I wasn't getting the protein in. So all of that was my strategy. But guess what? Dexa scan said, no, sister, no way. That's not what we're going to do. So let me just break the numbers down for you. So I'm going to tell you, there were two things that I need to improve on from my last scan. And then there was one thing that was actually a surprise to me that I did well. So let's talk about the two things that I need to improve on. When I got my first Dexa scan in April of 2025, and I'm going to start with what we all know, the muscle mass of it all. Let's talk about it. Did I lose muscle mass? In April, my lean mass was 111 pounds. Well, in August, my lean mass was 109 pounds. So I went down 2 pounds. Now, they're saying that's just a 2-pound drop. You're still in the elite category. Don't really worry about it too much. Just don't go any lower than that. That makes me feel better, but I still don't like the idea of going down at all. I want to continue to keep that muscle in the area or make it even better. I don't want to go down. So what I did was I looked up, what should somebody in my age range have as far as muscle mass? Your muscle mass should be between 109 and 112. So as you can see, I'm right there with that 109. When I had 111, I was awesome. I should say even more awesome. I'm still awesome with the 109, but I can't afford to drop anymore. That's just where the buck stops, at that 109 for the Downsizing Diva. I also looked up someone who was my weight, in my weight range, how much muscle mass they needed to have. And it was pretty much in the same, range. So that's good. That's good. The second area that just kind of threw me for a loop. So in April, my body fat percentage was 50%. Well, in August, it ticked up to 52%. And that's because my weight went up a little bit. It went up some pounds. one of the things the people at Dexa told me is don't throw away my scale. Use that as a benchmark. That's what I've been using. That's what I should use. Change the batteries. Make sure I'm in place I need to be as far as being level when I'm weighing in. And I'm doing all that. The other thing someone said to me was, I'm going to put a picture of my my inflammation and, my swollen ankles and just retaining water and all of that. That's a thing. That accounts for some of the pounds and some of the weight. You could just see, I did have a lot of inflammation and retaining water going on. And I know that's because I have not been drinking water really since school started. I've been holding when I should be going. And because I don't want to go, I've just kind of been scaling back on the drinking at work so I won't have to go to the restroom, right? So if you're not drinking and releasing, you're holding on to it, which is what I've been doing. So that to me is a tweak that I can make that is just, that's reasonable. It's something I could easily do. But that raised my body fat percentage, which was not good. Oh, by the way, my ankles aren't as swollen now. Like I've been on it since I went to that Dexa scan. So we're going to turn that frown upside down. So those are the two things that weren't so good. But let me tell you what was great. It's two things that were great, actually. But one of the things that is related to this whole weight loss of it all is my visceral fat. So my visceral fat was 3.13 on my last DEXA scan, 3.13. Today, or I don't know if today, last Saturday, it was 2.66 pounds. Can you believe that? So I decreased my visceral fat, which is that dangerous fat around your organs. Now, I am shocked about that. I really am shocked about that because I just thought, okay, a percentage of my body fat and my body fat went up. Surely my visceral fat went up, but it did not. So I am doing a good job of getting rid of that fat and, around the belly. And it really is what you eat, right? It's sleeping, it's your hormones, it's all of that. But I also real credit Pilates because Pilates, you're doing a lot with your core. So I may not have been doing as much with my arms. I could tell I was doing a lot with my legs because you do a lot with your legs in Pilates, but you also do a lot with your core. So one of the things, and I'm going to kind of break this down for you because I didn't really talk about this in the lean mass, but this just goes to show you the exercise you do and how you're using that exercise plays a big role. So if you're not working out, start working out. And I have to tell myself that too. Now, I don't have a problem with strength training, but oh my goodness, when I tell you, I do not like the whole cardio of it all. And so I'm going to increase my cardio, at least get that in 3 times a week. In Pilates, you get some cardio, but it's not that hardcore. And I am working out at home, doing things, YouTube videos and doing the weights, but I can push myself, obviously. So that's what I need to do there. I'm going to tell you, my arm muscles, I lost a little bit on my arms. I was surprised by that. And then when I thought about it, I thought, it kind of makes sense because when the workout I was doing, the focus was on the core, which is your trunk area that they call it at the Dexa scan. That's a part of your core and, also my legs. So the fact that my arms took a little bit of a hit, I'm sorry, arms, but I need to really kick that up a notch. So my leg muscles stayed pretty balanced between 41 and 42 pounds, and that is in the elite category as far as legs. Those arms, they're about 9 pounds, which it should be between 10 and 11 pounds. So I got some improvement to do on these arms. And then my lean mass in my trunk area is between 52 and 53. And they say, I held that. They say, that's huge. That's huge. That's awesome. That was between 52. That should be between 52 and 55 because I'm trying to figure out what is elite and how do I get there? And am I there? Am I there? So that's good. So why is this important, this lean mass that I keep going back to, your muscle mass? Because lean mass is your metabolic engine. And let me tell you, I did do a RMR, a resting metabolic rate. And that's a whole nother can of worms. I'm going to make a whole separate video about that. That's basically your metabolism, what you're burning when your body is at rest. And it's so much going on there that I'm going to have to really explain it. So let's get back to the Dexa scan. So what does this information mean? So overall, it's looking good for me. I'm kind of on the right track. My body fat percentage did go up a bit, just 2%. My lean mass stayed pretty solid with some minor losses here and there, so that -2 pounds. But I still am in the elite category. Let me just be clear. I'm still elite. My visceral fat decreased. That's a huge win. If we don't get anything else out of this DEXA scan, it's a huge win. This had me baffled though, because I'm thinking, how can my body fat go up, but my visceral fat go down? And so there are some things I was doing to pinpoint that, which I, told you, like working on that core. One huge thing I did, which can contribute to your visceral fat, melting away there, is I've been getting sleep. I have been prioritizing that sleep. So that is huge because if you follow my journey, you know that I was having some sleepless nights and, starting off great and then getting up to go to the restroom and not going back. So improved sleep. I don't know exactly what's going on with my hormones, but I felt a little better. It's also, that exercise. So it's the type of exercise you're doing matters. And when I say the GLP-1 weight loss journey isn't what I thought it was, because, most people are just taking their medication and just being easy peasy lemon squeezy, and the weight is coming off and they look good in their clothes and they're not thinking a thing about it. And for me, this journey has been more about being on a health journey, like not just wanting to lose weight and take off the weight, but also wanting to be healthier from the inside out and maintain that muscle mass and maintain my great bone density, which brings me to another good part of this DEXA scan is my bone density. Before it was in that excellent category, it was at a 3.3. And in August, my second scan, my bone density was at a 3.4. So I'm going to read for you what a T-score is, because people may be saying, well, what is a T-score? Well, your T-score compares your bone mineral density, so BMD, bone mineral density, to a healthy 30-year-old adult. So they're comparing me to a 30-year-old. Hey, how about that? We're going head to head. So the bone mineral density, it looks at your lumbar spine, your hip, your forearm. So that score shows how many standard deviations my BMD is above or below that of a 30-year-old. So I have high bone density. And if you're in that category, your bone density is a 2.5 to a 4. And I am labeled excellent in that. I actually managed to take that up a little bit of a notch. So I am 3.4 standard deviations above that of a 30-year-old. So I will take that. I will take that. And I will take that and take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. So I'm excited. So I would say if you don't get anything else out of this DEXA scan and what I'm telling you, I would say, first of all, get a DEXA scan. It's great to know what's going on from the inside out and use the information, and don't argue with the DEXA scan, right? Argue with yourself and what you're doing. Because I had to take a look at myself and think, what am I doing? One of the things I know is the DEXA score, sometimes they tell you to come back within 90 days. Well, I'm going to go in December. And even if I go in January, I told them I may reschedule. I think 3 to 4 months is great for me. So that gives me time to work on some of these things. So what affects that T-score? Because your insurance may cover just a bone density test. But when you go, ask for both, right? Ask for that body composition test and the bone density. But what affects your T-score could be your calcium and vitamin D intake, your strength training and weight training, how much of that you're doing, your hormone levels, especially that estrogen, your age, if you're in menopause or perimenopause, if you have medical conditions like a thyroid disease, or you have, some other kind of issues going on with your body. So all of that is important to know, and that's why getting that lab work done and getting something like a DEXA scan is going to be helpful to you if you want to know what's going on from the inside out. Now, I do realize DEXA scans aren't cheap. Some people are, but actually, some people are getting them pretty cheap. I'm kind of jealous. I paid about between $170 and $180 for my DEXA scan, and that's with a coupon. So, but I've heard people of getting them less than $100, cheaper than that. So if you can find somewhere to get your DEXA scan, I would say go for it. So what am I going to do with this information? So we're going to wrap this video up. I'm just going to tell you really quick, what am I going to do with this information? Well, here is my Diva plan. So I am going to increase that protein and try to get it in. I'm not even going to say increase. I'm going to eat it, right? I got to get that protein in. My target, my doctor told me 80 grams, but I'm going with 90 to 120. This is what the Dexa scan folks told me to do. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to make that my goal and get as close to it as I can. And if I don't get to it, I'm going to give myself grace. But that's a target and I'm aiming for it. My strength training, I'm going to not going to Pilates anymore, but I will be strength training 3 times a week. If I could get in more, that is great. Movement every day. It's so funny. The guy from DexaScan, he said, you need to get in those 3 sevens. And I'm going to tell you what they are. Do you know what do you think he's saying the 3 sevens are? He said the 777. I take it back. It's the 777. He said 7,000 steps, 7 hours of, you guessed it, sleep, and 7 glasses of water. So he told me, do the 777 and get moving. So he said 7,000 steps. So that's what I plan to do. And we talked about, because, I'm not a fan of having like a device on your arm or anything. That's a story for another day. But what I could do is, I have like a little kind of purse that holds my phone and I have it on me at work. So when I move it around at work, it will capture all that. And it syncs with my, Apple phone. So my iPhone. Did I say Apple phone? My iPhone. And so another thing I can do is tracking. And I am tracking. This is how I know I'm not getting enough calories in. But one of the things I realized that I was doing about this tracking, I use the PEP app. I'll put it up there. I do have a link in my description if you're interested. It aligns so well with the GLP-1. You're tracking your injection, you're tracking your food, your macros, your sleep, all of that, side effects. So it's awesome. So that is something you could use as a tool. But one of the things I realized I was doing is, I would plan out my meals. And then if I didn't eat it all, because I remember a lot of us are pushing back from the table when we've had enough. We don't have to finish. We don't finish the whole thing. Then your grandmother used to tell you, or your mom, like, don't leave a thing on your plate. That was a thing in my house. So when I push back from the plate and don't eat it all, I feel, kind of like a sense of accomplishment, like I'm doing something great for my body. However, when that is protein, I'm not going back to subtract that. So that's another thing that was getting me in trouble. Like, yeah, my app is saying I ate 90 grams of protein, but I really did not. So I'm going to have to go back and subtract and be more meticulous with that. I'm trying to get results here. So when you want something, you do what you need to do to get it. All right. So the next thing I need to do is continue my sleep. I am sleeping a lot better, I will say. I have my moments when I'm up and working and I'm one of those people, when I get busy doing something, I like to finish a task. And so sometimes that has come at the sacrifice of my sleep. I could get better on that. But overall, I'm improving. And I really think improving that sleep has really helped with that visceral fat. And again, focusing on my core at Pilates. Another thing they say is eat more whole foods and eat fewer empty snacks. And so I need to do that. One of the things I talked about, and when I say I need to do that, I need to eat more whole foods, of course. I think, don't we all? I take so many supplements, but just to help with getting all the vitamins and minerals in. But I could eat more whole foods. And, I was doing a lot more snacking in July because that was my birthday. And I just was thinking, this is my birthday. I'm celebrating. I'm having cake. I'm having some goodies. And I didn't overdo it, but I still did it. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I have to be honest with myself with that. But I've scaled that back to my fruit and my veggies. I was nibbling on my daughter's snacks, like a nibble here and a graze there. And she'd be like, Mommy, take half. And I say, I don't want half or need half. I would just take a little bit. So I'm pushing back from that too. So that's my plan. And then in order to get that protein in, I do realize I need to go back to adding my protein bar and protein shake. I was trying to give that up. That's another thing that kind of helped do me in because I was calling myself, I'm eating whole foods. Well, I wasn't eating enough of the whole food. So when you can't eat enough of those whole foods and you can drink the shake and get the protein in. That's my opinion. Now check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Make sure that's okay for you to do. And finally, no crash dieting, no cutting out things, Now I remember, if you guys are probably like, you did that, but I did that for Lent. It was spiritual type of reasons that I cut food groups out. Now I've been known to cut back on my carbs. I can always do that because I'm a type 2 diabetic. Actually, I'm a pre-diabetic. I'm out of the type 2 diabetic range. I'm a pre-diabetic. And so I'm hoping to slide on into that normal range with my blood sugar. So all of these changes are going to help me do that. And so now I'm just faced with the idea of this dose that I'm on. So that's another thing that I'm going to be looking at. Is this the right dose for me if it's stopping me from hitting my macros, especially my protein goals? So we shall see. We shall see. So that is it. That is my DEXA scan. Now I'm going to tell you again, that RMR is a whole nother animal. I'm going to dive into that in another video. If you're on this journey to lose weight, that's excellent. If you're on this journey and this is an opportunity for you not to just lose weight, but to change your health, please go and invest in a DEXA scan. You don't have to, not getting any sponsorships or anything out of just encouraging you. I was actually against a DEXA scan at one point. Like I'm thinking, I don't need to know that. But it's actually is guiding me in the right direction right now. Whether I do with the information is one thing, but I have it. And I always say, knowledge is power. So I'm going to take what I know and what I know how to do. And that is set a goal and stick to my goal until I reach it. And that's what I'm going to do. And so when I get my next DEXA scan, I'm expecting some improvements out of myself. So if you're on this journey again for the health of it all, I would say track more than your weight. Track more than your weight, which is the DEXA, right? Track some other things that's going on. And I don't just mean those non-scale victories. I mean things going on in your body. Not going to pay for a DEXA scan. Try to get that resting metabolic rate test. Your insurance may cover it. You got to check into it though, because you checked your muscle. That's something we can do by lifting those weights, strength training, gradually increasing. And then celebrate your wins. So celebrate your small wins. If they're not scale victories, again, the non-scale victories, I'm all about not letting the scale determine your value or your worth or your GLP-1 journey and how effective it is. It's also about how you feel, how you look, how you're taking care of yourself. But you have to know what's going on in your body in order to know how to fix it. I was not really feeling great, so that's a sign. So if you're out there like me and you're struggling with fatigue, you can't eat, you're eating very few calories, that's a sign that you need to do something different. So I said this wasn't going to be a long video. So I want you to look out for my RMR video that will be coming up here shortly. I want to say thank you for watching, and please share this video. Share this video with someone who had a DEXA scan or is contemplating a DEXA scan or who should get a DEXA scan. And you don't have to be on a GLP-1 to get a DEXA scan. We all should know what's going on in our body. Leave me in the comment section and let me know, did anything in my scan surprise you? What was it? And have you had a scan? DEXA scan, that is. So let me know in the comment section. Let me just remind you that I am live. I am live on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. I am live on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I am live on Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So come and interact with me live. Looking forward to meeting you there. Visit my stand store. Yes, I do have a stand store. Visit the stand store. I have some freebies in there. I also have some things in there that may help you and support you on this weight loss journey. So whatever you do, I want you to take good care of yourself. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit.